Hello, welcome. Today's video is a 12-month review of the perhaps cult classic Nikon 35mm SLR camera, the Nikon FM3a, first released in 2001. I've been using this alongside my Leica cameras, and it's actually been one of my most used cameras over the last 12 months. Together with my little Barnett cameras, I've been carrying these cameras everywhere. Coming up, lots of example portrait pictures and non-portrait pictures. And for those of you on the market for a Nikon SLR, I'll also include some other great examples if you want some other alternatives. Click the link below to the full Nikon FM3a blog post, all the information you need if you're on the market to get one. Hey guys, Matt here from MrLeica.com. So first, Nikon FM3a and Leica cameras. As a Leica enthusiast, why do I recommend the Nikon FM3a? If you can see here, it's been with me in many workshops as I've been traveling kind of various places in 2024. I would recommend the Nikon FM3a is perhaps the best Nikon film camera for Leica enthusiasts because it's just so nicely made. Size-wise, it's not too much bigger than a M camera, as you saw there. How does it actually compare to a Leica up close? You can see if you exclude the mirror box, it's almost the same size as like a Barnett camera, which is actually pretty small. Yes, the lenses are bigger, but you will see you can actually get quite small lenses as well. One big advantage with SLR cameras is you can use long lenses, like much longer than the 135mm max on M cameras. You can use screen adapters, and you've even got mod cons like the window on the back door to check what film is loaded. I was using Tri-X on the recent trip. Side by side compared to an M6, reasons I would use the FM3a is the maximum shutter 4,000ths of a second, maximum flash sync speed of 250th of a second, which is much better than a 50th for anyone using flash. Price wise, it's about 3 times less, and for anybody that likes aperture priority, it also includes aperture priority not found in cameras like the M6 and the MP. If you'd like to add a grip to your FM3a, you can get the MD12 motor drive. Here's a camera without the motor drive attached. As we saw earlier, it's pretty compact. Now you're going to see once we attach the motor drive, it's a bit more beefy, maybe more similar size to say the Nikon F5, which is an autofocus, auto rewind Nikon SLR. The grip takes 8 AA batteries, which makes it quite heavy, but it does feel stable in the hand, and I love the grip feel. It's very, very ergonomic. I really like it, even though most of the time I use it without. There you can see the size difference with and without, comparing it to a similar camera. What about using it with flash? So the great thing of using this camera with flash is the 250's flash sync speed is just so good when you want to do film flash photography. That's one of the biggest drawbacks for me with the M cameras. I use the Nikon FM3a with both on-camera flash sometimes, but mostly off-camera flash, and then Godox triggers. Here you can see an example from one of my shoots. This was with on-camera flash. You can see the effect from just a little flash on the top. You can also do macro photography, which is less easy with rangefinder cameras. As you can see here, that was my setup. I had my pocket watch and my M10p conversion as my model. And then I had the FM3a with a Nikon 55 2.8 macro lens, and I was also using the extension ring, as you see there, for some shots. And then I had all that set up on a tripod with a cable release. I was interested to see kind of how close I could get, and here's some photos, like not too close. You can see you can easily get shots of a camera, and then as we get closer, that's now with an extension tube. Okay, we're at with longer lenses. So as you can see, this is me using a 180mm lens on the FM3a. And I just happened to be using it on a tripod because I was using it on a 4x5 trip. Here you can see the look of the 180mm lens, and it gives really nice compression, which I sometimes miss with Leica film cameras, or Leica M film cameras in particular, because you can't really go longer than 135mm, and even 135mm is not really that much fun on an M camera. If you saw the video of me in Lisbon, I was using the 180mm lens on an FE2. I can put a link to that at the end if you want to check out the results on that lens. And that's like a whole POV style video if you're into that kind of thing. 180mm is quite long, but I also use it with 135mm lenses, and it's really beautiful for portraits because it's a really nice kind of happy length compression. I did a whole video on 135mm lenses for portraits. I was shooting film here on the Nikon camera alongside the Hasselblad H2, I think it was. This was during one of my workshops in London, and we're just using an LED to give a bit of extra directional light. Now, talking of photo shoots, let's have a look at a lot more photo shoots from the last 12 months. So coming up, there'll be some short video clips and then example pictures from various shoots using the Nikon FM3a. This was my most recent trip when I was in Lanzarote with Sophie. We both flew out there for a few days to get some sunshine and do some pictures. These photos were shot with the, I believe, 90mm lens, but check on Flickr when I post them for exact details. This was last summer in London when I was using the Linhof camera. I do need to use that camera again in 2025. These photos, I believe, were shot with the 40mm pancake lens, which is a Voigtlander Ultron lens. So you may notice if you follow my work that I often use Voigtlander lenses on the Nikon FM3a, probably the most. I use the 28, the 40, the 58 and the 90, probably the most. These are probably all shot with the 40 from that particular trip, but normally I'd say the 90s, maybe the sweet spot for kind of size and just amazing for portraits. These are shot with the 90 2.8 Apo, which is the same optics as the M Apo, the Voigtlander lens made for the Leica M mount system. This is a workshop in New York last summer. I will be doing more workshops, hopefully in the spring in New York. So if you're interested, make sure you follow the newsletter and I'll put dates up as soon as I get more information or book some flights. Here you can see me using the Nikon FM3a in the studio. I think this is with the 58mm Nocturne lens, which is also a Voigtlander lens. And I'm using a mixture of film across the last 12 months. It's a mixture of kind of expired film, Foma Pan 100 and various others. I also had the camera with me in New York, as I say, during one of the 2 workshop trips of 2024. This is like on one of my off days, so I did a bit of tourist type photography, walking around with one of my awesome patrons who met me in New York. It was actually raining at the start of the day, so it got some kind of moody, misty shots from here. We're trying to hide under the leaves and then get some shots of the buildings. All these scans are just basically not cleaned up, so you'll see some watermarks and things on some of them. I do need to clean them up if I'm going to do anything with them. There's Rex, my awesome patron that was walking around with me. Yeah, I just looked at the lens, that was me. I'm using the 58mm Nocturne lens for a lot of these, and also the 90. Now, how does this camera compare to the FE2, FE3, FE4, FE5, things like that? If we look at the FE2 and the F3 in particular, because I think both of those cameras are fantastic. If we first look at it compared to the FE2, you'll see that size-wise it's pretty similar, where the FE3 is a slightly different shape. It's got that little grip and the interchangeable viewfinder. Taking a closer look at the FE2, it's almost identical to the FM3a. And for most people, you could save a lot of money and just get the FE2 instead, or the FM2. Here you can see the size difference with the grip added and not added. If we now go back to the original footage, so the F3 is slightly different. It's I would say, more professional grade camera at the time. And so it's got slightly different features to the FM3a and so the FE2 and FM2. The FE2, FM2 and FM3a are all very, very similar. The F3 is slightly different, and I mostly use the F3 because it's got a waist level viewfinder. Well, it can have a waist level viewfinder. You can put normal viewfinders on as well. If you want the most compact camera, you want to get either the FE2, FM2 or FM3a. These cameras also give you the benefits of 250 flash sync, which is not on the F3. Check the blog for all the information. So in summary, why as a Leica fan, a Leica user, do I own and use the Nikon FM3a? And why did I buy it when I could have used some of my other Nikon cameras? I think it particularly suits Leica fans where you might have enough money to want to splash out on the slightly higher priced FM3a compared to the FE2 or FM2, for example. The FE2 and the FM2 will be better for most people because they're probably half or third of the price. The FM3a is probably like the Leica MP of Leica world. It's everything that Nikon knew about film cameras all into one camera for the final push before they went to digital. As mentioned, blog below. Here's the links to more related videos. And as always, a huge thanks to my amazing patrons.